China just switched on a piece of quantum hardware, the kind the world has waited years for. Everyone thought this race was about qubit counts, bigger machines, higher numbers, more headlines. They were watching the wrong number. The thing that actually makes quantum useful just got built, and it shifts who is ahead. Stay with me, this one matters, and here is the wild part. The whole breakthrough runs on 16 qubits. 16. While companies brag about machines 100 times bigger, so how does 16 beat hundreds? Let me back up. Here's the problem nobody likes to say out loud. We keep celebrating machines with hundreds of qubits, as if qubit count were the finish line. It is not. There is a silent gate in front of almost every quantum algorithm, and it has strangled them from the start. It is called the data loading problem. A useful quantum computer needs real data. First, ordinary data, the zeros and ones inside every database on Earth. And right now that loading is slow. Almost one piece at a time. That alone can swallow the whole speed advantage. Translation for anyone who remembers dial-up internet. You can own the fastest machine ever built. But if the data crawls in through a straw, the speed means nothing. This is not some fringe worry. The computer scientist Scott Aaronson flagged it years ago, in an essay called Read the Fine Print. His warning was blunt. Many quantum speedups assume you can load the data fast. If loading stays slow, the advantage can vanish. The whole edge, gone. And this is not abstract. Think about what quantum computers are meant to do. Model a brand new drug molecule. Map hidden risk across a financial system. Crack problems classical machines choke on. Everyone starts the same way. You load the data first, mountains of it. No on-ramp, no payoff. The qubits just sit there, idle and expensive. This is where quantum random access memory comes in. Most people call it QRAM. Think of it as that on ramp. It pulls huge amounts of classical data into the processor and holds it all in superposition, so the machine reads many entries at once, not one by one. For years, this was just a beautiful idea on paper. Everyone agreed you needed it. Almost nobody had built one and run it. That just changed. A team led by Zhejiang University pulled it off. They published it in the journal Nature Physics. They built a working QRAM and ran it on a superconducting quantum chip. Not a simulation, not a pitch deck slide, a real end-to-end run, on real silicon. It is the first time the full design ran as one cycle, on a superconducting chip. Other groups had built the parts before, the tiny switches called quantum routers, but never the whole tree at once. This is the first complete machine. The design is called the Bucket-Brigade. Picture a branching tree of switches. An address signal travels down the branches. It finds the right piece of data, then carries it back up. Simple idea, brutally hard to build. And the size of what they built is a trap. Focus on it and you miss the story. Watch closely. Now the hard numbers. A 2-layer version handled 4 bits of data. A 3-layer version handled 8 bits, all on 16 qubits. With error mitigation on, the 4-bit version hit about 80% accuracy. The 8-bit version landed near 60. Accuracy just means how often it returns the right answer. 80% is rough, but that was never the point. They were not shipping a product, they were testing whether the design holds up at all. And yes, I hear the skeptics. 8 bits, smaller than 1 letter on this screen. They are right to flag it. This is a proof of concept. So why does something this tiny matter? Here is the part most headlines are missing. It is not the size, it is how the errors behave. The team proved something real on hardware. When one branch of the tree fails, the damage stays trapped there. It does not spread. It does not poison the whole machine. The farthest branch stayed clean, almost untouched. And here is why that matters. Contained errors are errors you can fix. Let them spread and error correction drowns. Keep them local and the design can grow. That is the line between a lab stunt and a real foundation. They also cut the circuit depth, more than 30%, in 2 qubit gates. And they use teleportation inside the chip to hold the timing together. This is built to scale. Now step back, look at the whole board. The West just showed you its bet. In late May, the United States Commerce Department signed letters of intent. More than $2 billion in CHIPS Act funding. Across 9 quantum companies, about $1 billion goes to IBM for a dedicated quantum chip foundry. Another $375 million goes to global foundries. Read that carefully. That money targets the engine, more wafers, more qubits, bigger factories. And to be fair, the United States still leads in much of the core science. This is not a story about one side being hopeless. But here is the contrast. The West is funding the raw engine. This Zhejiang result targets the on-ramp. The layer that decides one thing, whether those qubits ever get fed real data, fast enough to count. And here is the signal most coverage skipped. Look at who signed this paper. Not just university physicists, China Mobile, the largest mobile carrier on Earth, roughly 1 billion subscribers. Its software arm sits right there in the author list. 2 of the authors work for it. Sit with that for a second. A state-linked telecom giant Co. wrote a Nature physics paper on quantum memory. That is not pure science. That is an industrial partner already in the room. And quantum was named a national priority in China's latest 5-year plan. The logic is clear. Chase the unglamorous plumbing, the part real applications depend on. Now some honesty, because this is not a clean victory lap. This does not mean China has a working quantum data center. It does not mean drug discovery is around the corner, or fraud detection at scale. The researchers say it plainly. Going from 8 bits to anything useful needs huge gains. Better gate fidelity, less crosstalk, real error correction on top. Because errors pile up fast as the tree grows. The qubit cost explodes with size. Their own fix is to spread one QRAM across many chips, and that is its own unsolved problem. This is a first step on a very long road. But here is what almost nobody noticed. It lands in 3 parts. First, the industry treated qubit count as the scoreboard, while the data gate quietly capped what those qubits could do. Second, the West just bet $2 billion on more raw hardware. And third, in the same window, one team built the missing on-ramp, the first full version of it. The piece that turns raw qubits into something you can feed real data. The loud race is about who owns the most qubits. The quiet race decides who gets there first. And the quiet race is about who gets the data in. That move just happened. It filled the quantum trade press for a week, and it never touched the headlines the rest of the world reads. If this story gave you a new way to see the quantum race, subscribe now. Because we track the moves that don't make the headlines. The shifts that rewrite global power before the mainstream catches on. One more thing before you go. Because this story is not over. It is barely the first move. Watch the scaling problem next. Every layer you add doubles the qubit cost. That curve turns brutal fast. The Zhejiang team already named their escape hatch. Split one memory across many chips. Wire them together. Run them as one. Nobody has done that at scale yet. Not in China, not in the West. Whoever cracks it first changes the whole board. And keep one eye on the American response. $2 billion is now in motion. The foundries are coming. The qubit counts will climb. But the real question is simple. Will anyone pair that raw power with an on-ramp this good? That is the race that decides the next decade. We will be tracking every move, the breakthroughs, the setbacks, the quiet papers nobody else reads. So drop your prediction in the comments. Who reaches useful quantum first, China or the West? We read everyone.